From the Allen Media Worldwide Headquarters Studios high atop 2 Turtle Creek, this is Deconstructing Dallas. Greetings, everyone. This is Ryan Trimble, your host here on the mic, joined today by the always civic-minded Sean Williams. Sean, good day, sir.
Good day. This is a civic-minded episode of Deconstructing Dallas for sure. I mean, we're going to be talking to one of the candidates for Dallas City Council. We'll be talking about the Dallas mayoral endorsements. Early voting has started.
Early voting has begun. People are doing their civic duty in our great city. And hopefully a lot more than usual vote, Sean. Would be nice to see an uptick in voter participation. We shall see how that turns out. But either way, people will be voting and electing new leadership for our city.
Yes, I hope that we can all step up to the challenge. Do you see what I did there?
Yes, I do.
My step game has definitely come back.
Yes. This is, of course, in reference to Sean's back in the Fitbit game, everyone.
Back, man. I mean, you killed it last week. You won by like 20,000 steps, so I had to.
I bumped up against 90,000 steps for the week.
Yeah, man. Late at night, I had to go around the block a couple times. I knew you were killing it. So, yeah, man. Yeah. So we are excited about our interview, but even before we get to that, we mentioned that early voting has started, and also the Dallas Morning News took an interesting turn by, what was the word that they used? Consider, telling us to consider.
Yes.
3 candidates that they recommended.
3 candidates in their recommendation for mayor. Of course, there are 9 individuals running to be the next mayor to succeed Mike Rawlings as the mayor of Dallas, to take hold of the horseshoe down at 1500 Marilla Street. So, I was just glad to see that my friend and yours, Sean, Lynn McBee, was included in the consideration.
Yeah, it was nice to see that the Dallas Morning News did recommend Lynn McBee, and her candidate, her platform about getting back to the basics, I think we've seen, again, for our client, has really taken hold. I've seen a lot of folks when we go out to forums who feel like between that, talking about streets, infrastructure, and public safety, that's the way that they want to go with the city, and the Dallas Morning News recognized that. So congratulations to Lynn. Congratulations to Lynn's campaign, and, got a few more days to keep this going, 10 days, right?
Through April 30th. Early voting runs through April 30th. You can vote anywhere during early voting, anywhere in the county. Come Election Day, Saturday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you,
May
Sean.
The 4th. See, man, we are simpatico today. That was exactly what I was thinking.
That's right.
Now, are you an early voter or are you an election day voter?
I am an early voter. It's funny, Mrs. Trimble, also in politics, heavily involved in the political game. She's an election day voter. I don't know why. I mean,
there are a lot of election day voters here in our office.
Yes, there are. I am not one of those. I like to wait until I get kind of the last few bits of mail, so I'm kind of like a Friday, Saturday of early voting voter. I don't like to go on the first day unless I'm for some reason going out of town, but I don't have any trips to the beach planned anytime soon, Sean, so I will be here. I'll probably vote Friday or Saturday and cast my vote, and I will be supporting Lynn and look forward to seeing more across our city support Lynn.
I usually vote either on the first day or the first Sunday. A lot of times I'll vote right after church, go by the county facility over there on Beckley.
Is that where you always vote?
That's probably 90% of the time. That's where I always early vote. If I vote on election day, I'll go to my precinct, but generally I vote there on for early voting.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I have for years, ever since I was working for Chairman Branch, I vote early at Our Redeemer Lutheran up there on Park Lane because I'm usually standing out there, and so I'll flip my shirt inside out, go see the great Jeannie O'Neill, the great election judge up there. Jeannie, if you're listening, hello. Thank you for all you do, and go cast my vote, and then I come back out, turn my shirt back inside out, and hold a sign and either stand in the freezing cold or the beat down sun and support my candidate.
Well, I think the main thing that is the theme running through this portion of our show, is that we vote. And so we know that most of the people who listen to this podcast are also probably voters, but let's all go out, grab somebody that doesn't vote. Let's encourage people to get out and vote. It is our civic duty, and it is something that we should not take lightly. Speaking of which, we have a lot of city council elections going, and one of the ones that we are following, obviously, is involving another client of ours, Jennifer Staubach Gates, and she joined us on our podcast.
Yeah, it was exciting to have Jennifer in the studio. She's a friend, and I've really liked seeing what she's done as a city councilwoman. She's of course running for her fourth and final term, as she'll be term limited after this round. When she's successful in her re-election bid, she'll be term limited. But she's got such an interesting district. Obviously, she's got some of the Preston Hollow area, but she's also got the Vickery Meadows area, and she's been a leader. And we'll get into this on the interview a little bit, I think. But we will, discuss her leadership through the Ebola crisis and breaking ground on a new library for Vickery Meadows. And so, just some interesting. She's done a lot of interesting stuff during her time down there.
Well, she's always a thoughtful voice around the Horseshoe. I had an opportunity to work with her some while I was down at City Hall myself, so I got to see that up close and personal. And over the last 6 years, she has really been a strong voice for public safety and just for thoughtful leadership. So I'm really excited about the time we had to spend with Councilmember Gates. So right after this quick break, we will come back. Sean Williams, Deconstructing Dallas. Join us on the other side. Thanks.
You really need to act F-A-S-T. You really need to act F-A-S-T-E. It's the face, it's the arm, it's the speech, it's the time. 911 is the number to dial. You need to act F-A-S-T. You really need to act F-A-S-T-E.
Spot a stroke? Call 911 fast. For more, go to strokeassociation.org.
Welcome back, Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Sean Williams. Sean, really excited today. We're joined by our friend, City Councilwoman Jennifer Staubach Gates. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, we know you, and we're friends, and it's been great to know you and see your work on the City Council. But for those listeners who don't know you, tell us about your background, because you have a really interesting background.
Well, I'm a lifetime Dallasite. I came here as a child with my parents, obviously, but my husband and I returned back to Dallas in 1990 after college and a short stint in Houston, and we were glad to be back. It was he and I, and our daughter Jessica was 5 at the time, and started really making our life, making our home in Dallas. I'm a registered nurse. I had my bachelor's of science in nursing. So I was initially, when we moved back to Dallas, I was working at UT Southwestern. I was working with my little patients, were neonates over at Parkland, and we just grounded ourselves back in Dallas with grandparents to help with our daughter, and aunts and uncles, and John started building his business, and I was working as a nurse. I ended up moving from there to St. Rita's and was a school nurse before our second daughter was born, and then stayed home with the girls and just became active in the community at all different levels, from being a Girl Scout leader to homeroom mom, and then as the girls got older, I got more involved on some boards of some nonprofits that were related to either children with special needs or Catholic Foundation, and
Cool.
I was given back at different levels, and then the opportunity 6 years ago came up that was an open seat, and I'd been involved at local politics, just kind of an entry level through zoning cases and neighborhood associations, and ran for District 13 in 2013, and I've loved my job ever since for the last 6 years. So it's been great to serve.
Well, 6 years ago when you got to City Hall, I was already there, and I know it can be a great place to be in work, and sometimes it's not the greatest place to be to work. But you guys seem to do a great job. But why is it that you're looking to run for re-election? Why are you looking to stay on?
You're right. I mean, some days, there's a lot of good days, and overall, there's a lot more good days than bad days, though. But we've had a lot of challenges over the last 6 years. I mean, within 1 year of taking office, I was faced with the Ebola crisis, which was in my district in Vickery Meadow. That was challenging. Then, obviously, I was integral part in the police and fire pension, went on that board, so that was a real crisis for our city. So I think it's through those challenges and being able to move the city forward that it's a sense of accomplishment. We've had a lot of growth, and that is as good news as that is. It can also be painful. And how is it appropriate to grow when you're with regards to development, or what areas of Dallas do you want to try to see the change happen, as well as everybody worries about all the people that have been moving into the area, the impact it has on traffic, and on kind of the demands on our city services. We've seen that especially with public safety, and with having less officers, and that's been a real challenge, and how we kind of how we deal with that, and how we've had to make some real changes with recruitment and retainment. But so I think it's that some of the times we gloss over we get through these big issues and we feel like, wow, we've done that. But it's really the day-to-day work that we do that really makes a big difference for our citizens and residents all over the city.
You mentioned the Ebola crisis. I remember living it. My wife, Lauren, is the chief of staff for the county judge, and I know you got to know her through that process and that fun exercise. And
we could write books about those 3 weeks in Dallas, all of us that were on the front line.
No kidding. But congratulations on that. Besides some of the big issues, what do you see are some of your accomplishments during your time on the council, or some of the highlights?
Well, really, it's been strengthening neighborhoods. It's working with, I've got some incredible neighborhood leaders, developing those relationships and making sure, the parks and their communities are taken care of. Or we've, this first time District 13 has had any construction of trails. So we're, have 7 miles under construction that will be opening within the next few months. Working with the community, that was a challenge in some of that North Haven Trail because 4 of the locations where the trail was designed to pass through, there was existing parking lots that belonged to churches or schools. So we had to, really work with the neighbors that were being backed up to the trail, as well as the churches or institutions to, and figure that alignment. But, so it's working with the community, building that relationship, protecting neighborhoods, dealing with development opportunities. I have a real strong belief in if it's zoned residential, it stays residential. But we've got aged multifamily as well as aged commercial product, old shopping centers, and we have to, make sure we have that, community-driven development. We have to, that there's a consensus. We had Inwood and Forest, and, now we're dealing with some challenges on Northwest Highway, in the PD-15 where we had 60 units and 60 homeowners lost their homes, and, it's 1948 zoning. And so we've had to, and it's been emotional, and but we've been working on it for 2 years, and, maybe making sure everybody's listened to, but, unfortunately there's competing interest, and it's been a challenge, and
Yeah, you do have a broad district, a diverse
Yeah.
district. You know, it is a North Dallas district, but you have the Vickery Meadows neighborhood. You have some challenging, unique neighborhoods with different issues, and so, congratulations on